Pers-
Hello and welcome to the Ladies' Room. Today, my good friend Haim Mizrahi is here. He has a show coming up October 12th?
28th, September 28th. Sorry.
September 28th.
Yes.
September 28th, so coming up very soon at Oshawa Hall, one-man show. Great new work. And you are so prolific, Haim. Do you ever sleep? You amaze me.
Just enough.
Just enough.
Just enough.
Really, you always have a smile on your face.
My Tai Chi master used to say, I sleep 100% out of 4 hours as opposed to people sleeping 40% of 8 hours.
Okay. I heard someone say, I sleep like a baby. I wake up every 3 hours and cry. That's more like how I sleep.
And change.
Change diapers. So, what message are you delivering in this new body of work?
Well, I call the show hybrid, but it's hybrid with double E.
Hybrid.
Yes. So I'm
Interesting.
talking about a new breed of work in the sense of, it's a continuation of what I believe in, really letting go and being almost like predictable in a way. Letting go in the sense of not worrying too much, not taking myself seriously, not robbing myself out of precious energy. If I spend time in the studio, I want most of it pointed out to art and activity. You know, I don't reflect in my studio. I don't do much other than painting. So the hybrid is the purity of that result. You know, I'm bringing to life a new animal. You know, and it happens a lot to me, and I found a wonderful way to capture it and to succeed to bring to life new results all the time.
And what is the wonderful way now that you found to capture it?
Well, I thought about it for so many years, and I realized that about what I'm actually doing now as we speak, the kind of things that I need to do, working with my hands, working with gloves, eliminating brushes, for example. This did not involve
Well,
any.
it's very loose and very free and very
But
flowing.
yet defined, you know, it's loose but not lost, you know what I mean? And in a way, I realized that the secret for what I'm doing right now is to be ready, technically speaking, i.e. that I need to have the paint that I need, the colors that I need, the quantity of paint that I need, so much so that I don't need to leave the scene to get anything. So here's the canvas, here's the paint, here's the medium, here's the technique, and I'm just there from beginning to end.
And what is the medium you use mostly? Is it acrylic or oil?
Yeah, I use acrylic. I use acrylic and oil, but for the most
Yeah.
part, acrylic because it agrees with
Dries
me more.
fast
Yes,
and you
clean up better,
paint over
and also
it
the
and-
quality of acrylic now is really compatible with, almost like with oil, even though oil is oil, you know. But it's just if I don't have to leave the scene, if I'm self-sufficient and I prepare myself, then I realized always that I couldn't start doing it because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Meaning the paint wasn't there. I couldn't figure it out. How am I going to not break myself from the scene and from the chain of thought and just remain there for the duration? So
How many studios do you have now?
I'm now 3, out of which 2 of them I'm active, super active. And
nice.
the third one I'm just kind of paying visits and reminding myself that I have
It's like
old
your
work.
meditation studio.
Yes, and
It's your meditation
maybe
studio.
I go there and I kick something.
Play music
Yeah.
and dance around.
Or just go there and move something and leave and say, okay, I did something here.
Why have 3 studios?
Well, why not, first of all?
I don't know. It's a lot of
People don't know the meaning of having more than one studio.
Yeah.
And that actually
No,
connected
most people
to,
don't.
they don't understand the benefit of it
Yeah.
because they cannot manage in one studio. Why would
It's
they
a
have 2 or
change of
3?
environment, though, and a change of head,
Good.
which leads to the next question. What if you were taken out of that environment? What if you were taken out of this environment, the Hamptons, and you were somewhere else? Would you draw your inspiration from the new environment, or?
I will definitely keep a straight face through the process because it's all about the technique. The technique is an attitude in place, you know, more than just skills as far as painting is concerned. In my head and my heart, I have an eye, perfect eye for color and composition, which is a gift, you know.
Yeah,
I accept it as
yes,
is.
yes.
And I keep a straight face because the kind of difficulties and doubts and question marks and questions or whatever it is, they will follow you everywhere. So it doesn't matter where you are. And then, of course, the addition of what the immediate environment gives you is an evident one, you know. Different sounds, different taste buds,
Right. So you draw on the new reality.
Yeah, that
for
is a given.
inspiration, yeah.
But the main action, the engine, is really the same engine that drives that car, whether it's going up the mountain or down the valleys. It's still the same car.
True. Well, it's the same engine.
Same engine,
And
yes.
and the same car.
And the same,
same spirit.
And I don't change my driving. I'm the same driver. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
like I'm a wild driver when I go uphill and a calm driver when I go downhill. I'm just the same.
You do get very excited, though.
Yes, that motion.
The downhill's a little more fun than the
Yeah.
uphill.
Okay, let's do it the other way around. I'm more. But I keep the rules of driving as a good driver. When
Yeah.
I'm in the car. So I think. But then again, my technique is an attitude in place. It's all about pretending, making believe, because it's me, myself, and I.
Right.
So I got two partners here in addition to myself, and it's the game. So these games bring lots of results that otherwise you would need a lot that you cannot get in order to create. I'm speaking of my experience with other artists and what they have to go through.
Some people torture themselves and take 20 years to complete a painting.
Yeah. And
I
did
don't
you ever ask yourself why?
understand that. Why?
Well, I mean, do you want to think why, for example?
Do I want to think why? I'm interviewing you. No,
because
that would drive me crazy. I want
I'm-
everything done yesterday.
Again, because it starts with art school. You
Yeah.
know, first of all, I would
Very
put in.
structured.
I would go throughout the country and probably eliminate about 1,000 of them, put them in an institution. Not an institution as a bad way, just kind of separate them and rehabilitate them. It starts from art school. They tell you so many wrong things. They teach you
I had that
so much
experience in art
wrongly.
school.
In a way, they don't leave room for experimentation. They don't leave room for surprises. I mean, I believe in conservatism, tradition. I believe in it, but you got to have the same fair amount of approach of
Inventiveness and
attention to
freedom.
Yeah, and so what happens is that people spend time in the studios, out of which most of it is not dedicated to creating art. They waste a lot of time.
Just stressing over.
Whatever it is, before or after, during, and they don't find themselves, out of 5 hours painting for 45 minutes. It doesn't work this way. You have to be knowing that you're in the studio and you're actually painting and not singing songs, unless that's what you want
The
to do.
brush in your hand so that it can come through.
You have to work.
Yeah.
So for that to happen, you have to have a pre-concept of what it is that's waiting for you in the studio. Not start thinking, what am I doing? Where did I leave it? How am I continuing? Where am I? These questions and all these wanderings should be accomplished, so when you're into the studio, you know right away what you're doing. So right there, it's a lifesaver.
So while you're driving your car to your studio, are you envisioning the art in
I'm
your
so
head?
much there. I'm so advanced now. By now, I used to like this,
Yeah.
But the evolutionary process brought me to a point where I am so tuned in what I need to do that it's just my second nature. I go in, and my body is just,
So
conducting.
happy to be there, yeah.
Conducting my
orchestra
my
of
action,
paint,
my
yeah.
movements, and sometimes I'm with my friends, very close friends, and I do something, and I send an image, and 5 minutes later I send another image just to show them, to share with them, for the outside world, so to speak.
process.
Yeah, how quickly it is also. Why? Because you're focused. Focus produces results.
But do you feel like you're losing a painting when you keep working on the same painting? Like if you have structurally a really good painting underneath and then you get free on top of it, should you
Well,
have
if it's
two
a part of,
paintings or?
That's a good question. It's unless this is your purpose, that can survive if you were to. But if it's a part of the plan, I'm more of a head kind of guy, even though because I'm so much heart, then I'm actually working on my head. I'm coming forward as a head. Because I'm so much heart, I'm not going to worry about my heart because I'm full of heart. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So right there, it's an energy, Robert. It is a great example. So I'm so head. So I'm saying, like, this is a perfect composition. I love it, but it doesn't mean anything because that's not what I want. This is just one step towards where I need to go.
And is there a message in every one of your paintings? I know you name your paintings very interesting names. I don't know how you come up with all those different names, really.
In the same fashion, I come up with the paintings themselves. Like it's. I hate to say freedom because freedom is more like almost I feel like reckless, and I'm not reckless. I'm very calculated, and I would say the names are a heritage of my passion towards poetry.
And I was just going to say that. I think it comes from your poetry.
So with poetry, I always treat the language as in a way that a traditional poet will get a heart attack with what I'm doing with it, in a way. And not because I can write better poetry, it's because my approach is so different, so therefore the results are unfamiliar. Like Alan Plants used to say, God bless his soul, very, very important poet that passed away. He used to tell me, it's just what you do with the language, not coming out of poetry for the sake of poetry, but coming out of just wheeling and dealing with the language produces poetry that puzzles other people while you're not trying to puzzle anyone by your writing. You're just doing what you're doing. You're doing
I
your
love
thing.
your little book with the puzzle on the cover. Are you going to be selling that at your show? It's a really great little book.
Yeah, with the
Got
pretzel.
great aphorism.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying pretzel.
Yeah, actually, it's a good plan as far as a snack for your mind. I call it
Yeah.
the sub. And
It's got great sayings. in
yes,
Very
it is.
thoughtful.
I'm
Yeah,
mixing it with art.
thought-provoking
Yes,
aphorisms.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what message are you conveying in this painting?
I say you don't have to work too hard in order to be able to paint that.
That's a good message. That's a good message. So, when you're in the studio, what difficulties do you encounter when you have to make choices about paintings or how to implement them, or what?
The main thing that I find difficult is to stay the course. Do not sway. That means there's a lot of temptations for me to do a lot of things that maybe I know I shouldn't go there. Maybe I'm not ready yet. And maybe even though I pretend a lot, there's only that much I can pretend. So I love murky water, but sometimes it's just maybe a little too murky, and I'd like more clarity. So so I gotta stay the course, and the message is so simple. And it's so simple because I created the message, so to speak. I am working on it as we speak now.
Well, it looks very joyous. I mean,
Yes.
your paintings bring a smile to people's faces, and a lot
And
of
I know what's hiding
color and
underneath it.
action.
You see, it's interesting that my success with this one, for example, as much as with so many others, is that I can see, even though I can see what you cannot see because I know what's there and what led to
Right.
that, it shows there without you knowing that it does. And maybe that would lead you to...
90% of communication is subconscious.
Yes.
So subconsciously we do know, and your subconscious gets the depth.
I sense your zone of comfort by interacting with it, and that tells me that actually you know without knowing exactly what I know for a fact.
How many paintings will be in the new show?
I would say about close to 30.
Wow.
They're going to be, small room is going to be actually small pieces, but most of the pieces are going to be 5 by 7 feet.
This one is 5 by 7
5 by
feet. It's a
7, yes.
huge painting.
Yes, it is.
Huge and colorful and very, very free and enjoyable.
Yes.
I love the colors.
Yes. So, and I like the way I managed to tame it. Because you're dealing with a tremendous amount of paint. Because I use a lot of paint now, and I definitely don't think about the quantity, and so I need to tame it because the nature of the beast is to go every which way it can. So my main objective here is to let it go a little bit and then
Tame it.
tame it. Keep it where it is. I say you're going nowhere. That's it. You had enough.
And then do you have triumphant moments when you get control of a painting? Do you do a happy dance like the football players?
Yes,
do?
I will do that.
Maybe you could do a happy dance for us at the end of the show.
I am doing now, don't you notice? No, but it's a good point because a moment of triumph is actually very familiar to me. So at first, in the early stages, I used to ask myself, how come I'm not like jumping higher, because this is called for, and now after I jumped really higher and all this, now I'm realizing don't jump too high because you're going to have to jump all day long because a lot of things
Just
like
get a jump rope. And then you can do double dutch.
Yeah, and then do the actual paint while you jump.
Hey,
That'll be
yeah,
great.
listen, good exercise, good exercise. And how do you keep reminding yourself of the importance of your art? Well, you have a painting company, so you actually have a business
Yes.
here in the Hamptons where you work every day, and you have 3 children and a family, and you find time to do art. And I have seen your basement. I haven't seen all 3 studios, but you have paintings stacked against the wall, shows for life.
Yeah.
How do you keep it going? Your creativity and getting there every day.
I guess it's what keeps me sane and
Yeah.
safeguard my mental state. It really does, you know. I have a lot of reasons to feel weak and to feel derailed, let's put it this way, just like many other people. And I feel that I really acquired a way to easily, by now, safeguard my sanity. And I think this on its own is right there, a wonderful wall of support. And
Do you compartmentalize, or is it just an easy flow?
it's actually both. It's actually both. It's back and forth. And then again, I do not deny access to anything that wants to come my way. I will not deny. I will let it filter through my system. And I will acquire about its nature. And, you know, I will use whatever I think is fit for the task.
And do you find, I know your life is very demanding, especially you have a little baby now. Do you find inspiration at home, or what is the constant source of your inspiration? Just being where you are in the process?
I really have to tell you, and this is the truth, my ordeal with art, I don't know why I'm using the word ordeal, but I am, involves none of inspiration. That means inspiration has no room in my life anymore. Why? Really? Because I've been through it. And I realized that that whole reality of needing to be inspired is an energy draining factor. People don't know it. It's actually, and it doesn't make sense, though.
They say it's a muscle, that writing and art is a muscle, and you have to keep using it, because by using it, it starts coming through you. And the more you use it, the more you get.
But what if you know that you're just inspired, period, not more or less? You're just an inspired person.
Good place to be.
And so would you worry about inspiration?
No. You would stay positive about everything.
And you are inspired, maybe even be wary of the fact how to contain the inspiration, because you have so much.
Yeah.
So that's
Do
a
you
place.
step aside to observe that?
And that's a must in that sense, because otherwise it's almost like be careful what you wish for, because even goodness, if it's an avalanche, it will bury you. And you think an avalanche of goodness cannot kill you, it can bury you alive. And then it's the same weight, you won't be able to breathe. But the thing is, most people, their life task is to maintain that inspiration, make sure it's coming, make sure it's there available, make sure they have access to it. And God forbid they will run out of it. They won't know what to do with themselves. This is the average, and I'm talking about the best artists, not just like struggling artists. Those that have experience, the kind of wheeling and dealing they have back and forth with this whole issue of inspiration, that's what kills them. That's what really derails them. That's what really get them off that necessary focus. So
it's
if
a
you
negative mindset in a way.
Without knowing, indirectly.
Yeah, because without knowing, they're struggling, and they shouldn't be struggling.
Exactly.
It's a gift, and it's beautiful, and it flows through you. And if you just let go and become like a hollow reed, God's flute.
And the system should be compatible with any kid. So any kid who wants to paint should be welcome to paint in the establishment that the kids
we
is.
have to keep the
Whether
arts
it's
funded.
elementary school or whatever, they should be encouraged to paint. Especially if they show signs, the word talented should be erased from any curriculum, from any configuration as far as communicating with kids. Big no-no. No talent. You want to paint. You can paint, you will paint, you will be encouraged to paint. Go ahead, do it. You know, and that will change our whole perception of, you know, what's good and what's not good. Because then we realize we're not judging. So it's not about good. It's not like, oh, this is good, let's put it. No, we will put it because you did it. It's a done deal. That already speaks for itself, your effort to bring it to life.
Would you consider yourself an alternative artist or an outsider artist? What is the deal with outside? You hear a lot now about outsider artists. would you consider yourself an outsider artist or an alternative artist? How do you
Well,
see your approach
I'm an
to
artist
art?
that uses so many alternatives to what's conventional that inevitably I'm becoming an outsider without even meaning to be. And I would assume that I am because I see the reaction of people when they come to my shows. They cannot help themselves, so they're very honest with me. And that really reassures my perception of how it is really in my life, in my creative process, through their eyes, you know. So I would say I use so much of that alternative approach that inevitably I'm somewhat of an outsider without really working towards that goal.
Okay. And so your message, is your message sometimes a fictional message? Or is it a realistic message? How would you describe the message that you want to give people when they look at your art?
Well, my message is about fiction and about reality.
Okay.
That's what it is. So it's again, but I will not come to fiction out of fiction or through fiction, and I will not deal with reality out of reality through reality. It's just that my actions, according to the attitude that I have in place, produces that. So that means if you see something as that, I did not make this painting. I did something else that this is the result of that thing. So it wasn't like I was aiming exactly for the shape and composition. This is something that I don't spend too much time with because I'm confident in that sense. I know it will result in that or something else, but I come from a completely different direction that has nothing to do really with painting. It just so happens that I'm actually painting while I'm doing that. It can be with music or with poetry, the same way with poetry. I will come to that awkwardness of the use of the language, not out of the need or desire to be awkward, but out of a technique to deal with the language in a different way, and that will result in that awkwardness.
Would you, your message,
Yeah.
would you like to read a poem today? Do you have one with you?
Yeah, I have plenty. iPhone is the secret of the new generation.
Really?
I have three poetry books here.
Okay, speaking of the new generation, how do you see yourself 10 years from now? What's going to unfold for you?
Lots more paintings.
Lots more. We know that.
And
Probably a couple of hundred a week.
And maybe, I don't know if I should say much deserved recognition because I think I'm breaking through in such a way that it's almost like a must. Again, it's like me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
We know it takes a lot of luck and being in the right place, the right people, the right time, and all this. We all know that. But I feel if I continue with that, I will be doing well. I will be doing well in the sense that I can say, you know what, it wasn't in vain. Even though it will never be in vain because it fills my life.
Vain, yeah.
But still, we want to survive. We want to be able to provide.
Be successful.
We
get
want
recognition.
Make a difference.
Yeah.
And you can make a difference when your work is known and you're known and all this rather than unknown, you know. So I'd like to make a difference just by people saying, you know, I'd like to do what he's doing.
I think you do make a difference because you are an inspiration to people because you just have boundless energy. You never stop. And always positive about everything. I can do it. Sure, I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be there. And you're
Consider
there.
it done, yeah.
And you're there.
Yes, it's done.
Well, the show coming up at Oshawa Hall is September 28th.
Yes.
The opening, that's a Saturday. The opening is what?
3 to 9, and then
3
on
to
the
9.
29th.
Will you have music and drumming?
Yes. Ken Sachs with his students and myself are going to be playing the drums at 6 o'clock. And then the 29th, I have Alex Russo with Tammy Nuzo Morgan, poetry reading. So we might have a bunch of poems.
Is it
That's 3 o'clock on the 29th.
Okay.
So.
So you want to read the poem
Yeah,
now?
sure. I will.
Let's
do it. Here we go. It's called "That Which Shows the Chip on the Shoulder."
Oh.
To revive an old issue used and tormented after a silent coalition gathers to shrink the possibilities. And again, all over again, the fear factor softens the reaction of rebellion and sense of importance blends to become ordinary. Undenied and shake-proofed I am, sometimes leader of open and shut cases. Respectfully alert, one-eye razor blade to extreme vision, sharp, not necessarily suspicious overly. The temptation is already springing with ideas and whispering of the devout as instant as the surprise of its appearance. Doesn't make sense, but staging coherence, easy task for the level-headed. Not much more to be blessed, left to thoughts of random cooking with taste of the next turn, and even post-beautification refuses to ease down on the maintenance aspect of longevity. I to hold the basic hint with a generous quality and self-centered preservation, am a blessed stranger, unfamiliar with local signs more than the mainsprings will contemplate in the name of assurance, to always be the one who greets oneself. Hop to the finish line early on as a future guesses resting confident and just about to predict for the first time. Tell me when I'm running out of time.
We're going to hop to the finish line soon, but go
head
on.
held high, above the limitations of body, scanning the horizons of thought, virginity soar to the eye. Laughter, not a bad idea at all, finds the item to work with amusing. All in all fits the sketch. Moment of distance and disconnectivity, they breathe a new surprise welcome. Every time, and almost all intentions adapt the relief. Dance tune promising raw movements, moments of phasing joy, era of belief discovery, triple realization, not much time to sort through the truth. One and many breaking expression by way of multiple synchronization, and on and on and on.
We're hopping to the finish line now, not so very quickly.
Not so very quickly.
Thank you for joining us at the Ladies' Room. Come to Haim's show September 28th at Oshawa Hall. And ladies, remember, give yourself lots of room. Room for fun, room for love, room to grow, and room to glow. Hope to see you next week. Bye.
Now I took what I want, but you find